I remember once I was like hooked on it. Once I got addicted. That's when I really wanted to stop, but I couldn't. And that was really awful. Because before that, I used to smoke sometimes, like when I was at a party, during high school, at the university. It was just for fun sometimes.
Yeah,
and then
all
of a sudden, yeah. And then after like 5 years, when I just occasionally smoke sometimes during a year, then I was like with a friend who smoked every day, and I spent some time with him, and then we could just, have fun. And then when all of a sudden I was just addicted, and I hated it.
Hi everyone, this is Nasia Davos, and welcome to this episode of Ask an Ex. Every Ask an Ex episode features an inspiring ex-smoker who succeeded with the CBQ method and who shares their personal experience and unique perspective on quitting smoking. The ex I have with me today joined our CBQ program and quit smoking on the 19th of May 2020, and she's here to tell you how she did it. Please welcome Anna Creston. Anna, thank you so much for being here. Congratulations, you've been almost 2 years smoke-free. This is amazing.
Yeah. Thank you. I'm really happy about this too. So it's kind of like a habit right now for me because it's been almost 2 years. But yeah, I'm really happy to get to this point. Yeah, and thank you
Well,
for the invitation.
Pleasure.
Yeah,
of course. I'm really excited to do this interview with you. And you said it's like a habit now. You mean it's sort of natural to not smoke?
Yeah, exactly. I actually seldom think about me as an ex-smoker, but I know I am. And when I see a smoker, I really think it's it's kind of sad, and I'm really happy I'm not that place anymore. So
yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
It's nice to feel like, oh, I'm happy. I don't have to do this anymore.
Exactly.
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah. So I'm really just happy I got out of this habit, which I tried several times in different ways. And
what did you try?
I tried some different things like hypnosis, for instance. Yeah. And
how was
then
that?
It didn't work out at all. I went out from the hypnosis, and after 2-3 hours, I started smoking again.
Okay.
So that was not good. And then I remember I tried a machine, which I really cannot explain today. What she tried to explain me what this machine could do, but it didn't help me out either. Although I know some other people it helped, but not me. And then I tried to read this book about quitting smoking. I can't remember his name. What is his name? He died from lung cancer. I mean, I did read his book like 3 times, and I still didn't manage to quit.
Okay.
These were just some of them. The tries I tried.
So you were sort of into some more alternative and non-medical ways anyway.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
I never tried with the nicotine supplements like that. I didn't. So
you tried seriously a lot of things. What was different this time? What was different, and what clicked and made the difference for you? And you're now 2 years later happy about not smoking.
Yeah, I think one of the most important things were the commitment to the program. So I'm quite happy that it was not I thought it was quite expensive when I looked at it, and I was really it will be even a bigger failure when I pay a lot of money and then I'm not gonna succeed. So I really hope this is going to work. And then I saw the videos and I thought, okay, I must try this because I really want to quit. So I committed to the program, and it was quite frustrating. And I think it's good because I really wanted to achieve this. And then I also, of course, was grateful that I know that you'd put a lot of effort in this with your team and try to find a solution because you've been there yourself.
Yes.
So that was also very convincing for me that, okay, it is possible, because I've really tried a lot of times where I thought it wasn't possible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
so it took me over 10 years to quit, but I did it. Yeah.
And you said it was quite frustrating. What about it?
Yeah, I thought it was really frustrating when I had to write down every time I smoked a cigarette and think about why did I smoke it, and that was so irritating. But I could see there was a point.
Yeah,
that was really a point. And also I use a lot of time, like every day I spend some time watching the videos, like very carefully, and sometimes over again, because I didn't want to miss a thing. I really wanted to commit to this program. And I think this is one of the most important things. If you want to succeed with this program, you have to commit and do the exercises.
I agree with you 100%. And not just commit, like say you're committed, but show it with your actions. How much time do you put in this program? How high in your list is it? Is it a priority?
Yeah.
All those things definitely matter a lot.
Yeah.
So,
definitely.
Commitment. Huge. Yeah. And you said that what also helped you is saying that it is possible. And something you mentioned before, that you used to watch interviews of people 2 years ago, and now you are here ready to share your experience, which is really wonderful.
Definitely, I think so too. So I'm really happy that it exists, this program, and I hope that other people can find their way to it. I wish I have found it sometimes before, but I did find it.
Yeah, you found it.
Yeah.
And for how long did you smoke, and how much?
I smoked for more than 10 years, and I smoked around 10 cigarettes a day.
Okay.
On average, yeah. So some days I could smoke 5, sometimes I smoked 12, but like on average 10,
So that's interesting, because you were a fairly light smoker. This is considered. It's not like an average smoker.
Yeah.
But
I considered myself, I don't know, it was really a burden for me. I hated it. So when you say a light smoker, okay, I just saw myself as really this is an awful habit, although it's not only a habit.
But I wanted to ask you, because many times when people smoke less than 20, which is what's considered the average, they have this thoughts that it's not that bad, don't smoke that much, and this stops them from actually taking action. But you didn't have this sort of thinking. You were like,
no, I hated smoking. I remember once I was like hooked on it. Once I got addicted, that's when I really wanted to stop, but I couldn't. And that was really awful, because before that I used to smoke sometimes, like when I was at a party, during high school, at the university. It was just for fun sometimes. And then all of a sudden, and then after like 5 years, when I just occasionally smoked sometimes during a year, then I was like with a friend who smoked every day, and I spent some time with him, and then we could just have fun. And then when all of a sudden I was just addicted, and I hated it from day one. And to be addicted.
When did you realize?
Just to tell you. Sorry?
When at what point did you realize that you were addicted? Because
when I couldn't stop, when I wanted to stop. Because I remember when I was at the party, there could be cravings, but I could manage not to follow the cravings. And then it just disappeared. But this time it didn't disappear, and I thought I have to have this cigarette to get rid of the cravings. And then it was all started.
And then became aware that I'm addicted.
Okay.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And well, that's very interesting. And initially, what, if you remember, I mean, I know you said you've been trying for a long time, but initially, what made you decide to quit smoking and not postpone it for later?
Because I think this with the corona was also very an important factor.
Right. Yeah, you quit on May 20th.
Yeah.
I can't,
Exactly. Yeah.
I can't believe that Corona, it's been 2 years.
Yeah.
How time
Exactly.
passed.
Yeah. So I knew this was actually a risk factor that I was a smoker.
Yeah.
And this was also, of course, a motivation for me. But I needed something to help me change my mindset, and this is what I think the program gives you.
That's exactly what it's designed to do.
Yeah.
It's all about the mindset. You're right.
Yeah.
And what part of the program, first of all, what attracted you to the program?
What attracted me?
Yeah, what made you think, this could be for me?
Well, I think it was very, like I told you, it was very convincing that you were yourself an ex-smoker. Yeah, and your story, you told that you had like an aunt, which I remember, who passed away, and you could still not, stop, although you tried, but then you came to the point where you actually succeeded and you found this way. So that was very convincing for me. Yeah.
Well, I'm glad, and I'm happy that it came through to you for sure.
Yeah.
And
so the YouTube videos were good, where I could find, this was like my first step, to this, where
Well, so you had an idea of what this is about.
Exactly. Yeah.
And so how is it like to be a non-smoker?
Well, I love it, and I can only recommend it.
Great. And
really, it's really, I'm sorry.
Go on.
Well, I think it's it's just amazing to be at this point where I know this is not longer a health risk for me, because I'm not a smoker anymore. So it's really wonderful to breathe without complications, and to work out without, being held back by being a smoker, because this actually puts, you in a place where you are not able to do as much, because it goes out on your breathing and etc. You feel more tired, and
your stamina. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. So it's amazing to have more energy, and better breathing and better health, and better self-esteem, because I hated being this smoker. This was just not like it was, supposed to be me ever. I never decided to be a smoker. I just fell into a trap. Yeah, it was a trap.
So better ability to exercise, better breathing, improve self-esteem. These are all great benefits, and benefits you see in your day-to-day life as well. It's not like this benefit, I'm going to quit smoking so that one day I won't have to face something. It's this everyday benefit that, I don't know, make us feel
happy. Exactly. Yeah. So I still think I have a long life, and hopefully even longer, because I stopped smoking.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
And how was at the beginning when you first quit smoking?
Well, I remember the first 2-3 days was kind of weird. But then I remember I used a sentence from the program that I have been having in my head ever since.
What sentence?
If there's like it's just when I have a thought about smoking, it's like I tell myself, this is just a positive thought about smoking. Yeah. And then I don't have the need anymore, so to speak. Yeah, I know it's just a thought, positive thought. That's all.
And that's such a powerful understanding, because when we realize that cravings are thoughts, and it's normal to have whatever thoughts, I mean, you cannot control your thoughts, it's very easy to let them go because we feel, oh, it's not something overwhelming or something that can overpower us. So yeah, thank you for pointing that out. That's a great lesson.
Definitely.
Yeah. And also you quit smoking before your supposed quit date, right? You quit on day 7 of the program instead of day 10.
Yeah. I was just tired.
Yeah. Why? I want to know.
Yeah. I was just tired of writing down, like I told you, it was so frustrating. And I was like, why wait, 3 days more? I just want to quit. I want to be, an ex-smoker. So I could just do it now. And then I did it.
Great.
Yeah.
And what a way to take control as well of the process and not just that's when I'm ready and that's when it's happening.
Yeah. There was no need to continue doing something to myself that was not pleasant at all. Like it was really
well,
devastating, so to speak. Yeah,
it was a great achievement. Did you feel that you were using willpower to stay a non-smoker, or did you feel like you were struggling or feel deprived along the way? How was the experience for you? Because I think people who are watching this and they're they want to quit smoking, but I think some of the barriers and obstacles is that, I'm gonna feel bad without it. My life is not gonna be as good without it, and we all have had those thoughts. So how was it like for you?
Well, of course, I think the first 3 to 14 days are quite weird because you have been doing this for a long time. And of course, changing habits also sometimes takes time, right? But this is not just like a matter of will, because this was what I was thinking before. This is just a matter of your mindset in a way. You have to learn to think differently about this. And this is your power. That can take over your actions, which is to be an ex-smoker. Right? So this was what I tried to, but of course it wasn't like it was the easiest way to do. I mean, it's really important to say also that, of course, you have to put an effort in it, because like all things that are important to you, you have to put an effort in it. If you, whatever, right? Your job or your kids or your partner.
100%. I mean, this program, it's not like magic. Oh, you're gonna watch it and you're just gonna wake up a non-smoker. Like you said, you have to put effort and you have to put the work. And sometimes the work, like recording those cigarettes, is reading. So
exactly. Exactly. And although there was some exercise you could do to help you stop, the thinking, the automatic thinking, I remember that was like, okay, this is kind of weird doing this, but I'm doing it anyway. And it actually helped. So try it anyway. So I think it's important to be open-minded and just to try it.
Great tip. Because even if you think it's kind of weird, right, maybe it's not going to be for you, this exercise, but maybe it will. So
exactly. But I think, of course, people can manage it, but it has to, you have to build up this mindset to be strong and then take action.
Very well said. What else can I say? This is very well said. So you said that if you have a passing craving thought now, you remind yourself that it's just a thought and this goes away. How do you manage stress or difficult situations as a non-smoker?
Well, there's a lot of ways, but I exercise. I go for a walk. I take some time off from work, for instance. I do some things I enjoy. That could be to watch a movie or what I like to do. But I think going for a walk is really nice, or work out. That is something I do a lot. Because I think it's nice to use your body and the breathing, and it's a good way to feel you have control.
And it helps for sure.
Yeah.
So you live in Denmark, right? Which is a beautiful country. It's cold, but
yes,
very
it's
beautiful,
cold
right?
at the moment. Yeah.
How's the culture in Denmark regarding smoking? Is it like accepted, allowed? How is it?
Well, of course, it changed a lot since they started with the restrictions in 2007. Then they tried to be more strict in different places, like in the trains or at working places, and now it's even more strict. But I still see a lot of smokers, and especially young smokers.
Yeah.
And I think it's so sad to see, because I wish somebody had stopped me at that time. Yeah.
But it's nice. Yeah.
But I think it has changed a lot. So it's not like it's really popular or smart to smoke. But then again, I see a lot of young people smoking, and I think there's a lot of work to do still to change the mindset in the population about this.
I think, people should try to help younger people to not start it, because
exactly. Because it can unfortunately be a long life thing you have with you, like a long life habit, right? So I don't wish that for anybody.
Definitely, but easier said than done. But hopefully things will get better and better, and more education around it. So tell me, what did quitting smoking teach you? That's my favorite question to ask.
Well, it did teach me that I can manage to do something that I thought was really impossible. So I think about that sometimes when I stand in situations I think that are really impossible, and then I think about this.
That's really cool. It has become a point of reference that I did that, so I could do this as well. Same. And I think so many people, this is a shared experience we have when we quit smoking. And what advice would you give to someone who may be struggling to succeed, or they feel they've tried everything, or they feel stuck?
What advice I would give to people that are stuck and don't think they can stop quitting?
They want to quit smoking, but they feel they can't, or that they have maybe suffered a relapse and they want to get back on track. So to other smokers.
Well, keep trying. I remember I also, had I tried different times before I found a program that helped me here. But I actually think also about, I think it was Sylvester Stallone. That I think he went for like 200 auditions before they took him in.
For Rocky.
Well, not for Rocky at first, but some other movie in the beginning.
Tell me more about it. I don't know this story.
Well, I can't remember all the details, but this is just something, it's a long time ago I read about this, and I thought, well, sometimes you really have to try a lot of times before you succeed. But if you give up, of course, you will not succeed. So try again. That is my best advice. Try again, because of course you can succeed when you see all these people that are examples of this.
Great advice, and great advice for anything, I think. Right? Keep trying until. It's not if I'm gonna succeed, it's until I succeed. So thank you for sharing that. And Anna, thank you so much for taking the time and coming here to share your experience with others who are on the same journey. It was a pleasure meeting you and talk to you, and thank you really for all the great advice and things you shared.
Thank you for the program. Thank you. Yes.
You're welcome.
Keep up the good work.
It's a pleasure. Sorry,
Thank you.
what did you say?
I say keep up the good work and thank you for the photos.
Thank you.
Forgot to say that the mails that you did send after I smoked, you know what you are doing, they are also very helpful.
Well, I'm
like
glad.
keep motivating you. Yeah. So
I wrote them with a lot of love and care, so I'm really happy that they help. Yeah. Thank you. And if you're here watching this video, please leave a comment below and let Anna and I know what you're taking away from her journey that can help you in yours. We're looking forward to reading your comments. Thank you, Anna. Thank you all for being here. Have a wonderful day, and I'll see you next time.
Okay. Bye-bye.